So I'm Mike Anderson. I'm with CODA. I'm on the BRT TOD team. I'm a project manager for this project, and it's my pleasure to welcome you here to the kickoff for the TOD plan, the public involvement section of the TOD plan. Couple housekeeping things. First, I want to let you know the restrooms are in that corner of the building, and second, we've got food out there for you. So please, if you get hungry, feel free to get up and go get some food. We do also have a couple of key guests here that I want to recognize. First, City Councilwoman Green, if you'd like to come up and introduce yourself, you certainly may.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for being here with you tonight, and thank you so much to our partners at CODA for allowing me to join you here tonight, and a special shout out also to our Department of Public Service as well as Dakota, who are leading this incredible initiative. My name is Melissa Green. I am your Columbus City Council member. I represent Columbus from District 6, which is right here where we are standing on the hilltop. I am here today with my son, Miles, who is a 5th generation Hilltop resident. Miles is... Yeah, hi. And we couldn't be more excited. We're so excited both to be able to share some updates with all of you about where we are with this new and exciting project. And we're also really, really honored that you've joined us here tonight to be able to share your feedback with us. You know, what we're really looking to do here is begin implementing a really strategic transit-oriented development. And what does that mean? That means building neighborhoods around what the needs of our communities are. That means connecting us to job centers. That means walkable communities that help everybody thrive. And we understand how transit is so important to everything. It's important to get us to and from work, to and from school, to and from activities. It's literally the backbone of every community. One thing that I'm really excited about, I was thinking about this today. You know, you go around town when you're campaigning or in a job like mine, you know, you sit and you hear from people about what they're feeling, what they're seeing, what they're experiencing in their communities. And one thing that I hear pretty consistently from folks is that there's this overarching feeling that the West Side has been left behind. And one thing that I'm really excited about is that as it relates to this project, the West Side was not an afterthought. We are the first to be able to get this bus rapid transit in our community. It wasn't a last resort, it was a first priority to be able to bring this here so that we can connect people to and from where they need to go. People can have opportunities for upward mobility and all the great things that come along with having an incredible transit infrastructure. So we're excited to hear from you because on this first time around, we want to make sure that we're getting it right. One thing I also want to note is that our Department of Public Service, you know, we were having a conversation today, and right now we're still in the design phases of this project, but even as we're looking towards implementation, we want to make sure, oops, sorry, I didn't put my phone on silent. We want to make sure that we are being as communicative as possible. We want to make sure that we're partnering with the area commissions, with the community liaisons here, so that we're getting information. You have a direct access to be able to ask questions and share feedback. And so I know that we'll be reaching out to area commission leaders specifically to be able to set something up like that so that once you start seeing cones going up in the ground, you don't have to do any guesswork about what's going on and what's coming next. So again, thank you so much for being here with us. Thank you for partnering with us on this journey so that we can get you to and from where you need to go on your future journeys. And at this point in time, I'm going to turn it over to my good friend and colleague, our state representative for Ohio House District 6, which is also here on the west side. Oh, that's not mine.
Thank you, City Council Member Melissa Green. Hi, everyone. I am State Representative Christine Cockley, and I'm so excited to be here with you all today. This is a really unique experience because so many people in this room I know from downtown at the State House, but it's also all of my friends and the people who live in the community at the library that is my home library. So I feel really grateful to see some of our worlds collide, especially during a time where oftentimes people don't feel like government works for them. It's nice that we can step out of the State House and come to my home library here on the Hilltop. So I'm really excited to be here with you all. I don't have too much to add from the City Council member, Melissa Green. My biggest piece that I want to highlight is during the capital budget requests, which we're going through right now at the State House. One of the major things I hear about is how people are excited to invest in the West Side because of Linkus. People are actually planning their projects and planning their capital budget requests around Linkus, and that really shows the power of the investment in public transportation. So I'm really excited to be here with you all, get some updates, and if I can ever be a resource to you, please feel free to reach out, and I'm happy to see you all here. Thank you.
Well, thanks to you both for being here, and thank you so much for your service and leadership. We really appreciate it. So we're all here because we've got something to do with West Broad Street. So I wanted to check and see who's in the room. So if you are someone who lives along the West Broad Street corridor, could you please raise your hand? Awesome. And if you're someone who works along the West Broad Street corridor, raise your hand. Okay, fantastic. And lastly, if you are on the project team for CODA or Linkus or the TOD plan, could you please raise your hand? Fantastic. We've got a lot of folks here that are ready to answer your questions if you have them. So take note of the people that are in CODA Linkus shirts or that have CODA badges on, and if you've got questions, feel free to ask them questions. All right, so real quick, the run-up show, our agenda, I'm going to give you a little bit of an update on Linkus as a concept. Then we're going to talk about the BRTs themselves. And then we're going to talk about transit-oriented development, followed by some free time so that you can go and check out the boards in the back and leave us your thoughts. And we've got a survey that you can take as well. This will be more informal than formal. I hope that we'll kind of get through these slides quickly and give you guys more time to talk and mingle and make new friends. So with that, could you advance the next slide, please? Oh, I do have a clicker. Thank you. I'm going to introduce AECOM's project manager for this project, Sarah Richards. Sarah, could you raise your hand? She's right over there. Perfect. And then our community engagement lead for this project is Glennon Sweeney. She's with the Neighborhood Design Center. Awesome, thank you. So these two ladies will be speaking as well. So Linkus is all about providing mobility options for a growing region. If you've been in Columbus for any amount of time, you are aware that we are experiencing a tremendous growth, and it's not projected to stop anytime soon. And so what Linkus is about is creating connected communities where people can get around without the use of a car if they choose, where they can frequent businesses that are nearby to them, and where opportunity doesn't leave people behind. We understand that while a lot of people are doing really well and finding great opportunities, it's harder for other people to find opportunities, and some of that relies on the ownership of an automobile. So we want to be able to provide options for those who choose to live without a car. We've passed this fantastic levy that's providing a ton of funding for all of this. So Linkus is more CODA, it's more sidewalks, it's more trails, and it's more opportunities. Just a little bit more about CODA. Obviously, we've got our service area on the map. It's Franklin County plus some little slivers of the counties around us too, with our charter members. Ridership is doing well. We're increasing year over year. We've been doing that for several years straight, and we've also just realized a fantastic opportunity in our CODA Plus on-demand mobility system. This is our product line. So you've got the CODA buses that you think about zooming down the roads, but we've also got CODA Mainstream, which provides rides for people with mobility issues. We've got an on-demand service for that as well. There's more information for this, by the way, at the back. We provide seasonal service like the CODA Zoo Bus, and we provide frequent service like the CODA C-Max. We want to talk about CODA also as a regional transit vision. So before you, we've got our service area, we've got our existing fixed route service, and then we've got these 3 BRT corridors that are under development right now, under design right now. West Broad is the first to go under design. We're nearing completion of the design portion of that. East Main also is right behind West Broad in terms of design. And then the Northwest Corridor is entering a new stage where we're moving from 30% design on towards final design. It's a really exciting time to be at CODA. We've also got these other areas that we know could probably use some attention in terms of frequent service. So this is our vision. We're sort of laying out the steps to really improve transit access and efficiency in Columbus, in Central Ohio. So BRT, what is BRT? BRT is all about convenience and efficiency. So to make BRT work well, we provide dedicated bus lanes for much of the routes. This means that we're keeping buses separate from cars. So when you see the next time you're sort of in a traffic jam situation, think about what it would be like to be on a bus and just zoom right past. We're offering meeting and guideways in a lot of instances. That's so that the stations can be shared depending on which way you're going. You can use the same station. We're also rolling out transit signal priority so that buses can get a head start on the traffic that's stopped, or the light will remain green so the bus can continue through. We're also working on the experience. So we're talking about faster payments. We're talking about more connections and more amenities. So each of these station areas are going to have these fantastic state-of-the-art gadgets, I guess, at the stations. We're also going to have access to different mobility devices, so bike share, scooters, and all of the like. The buses themselves provide a lot more room for people. Not only that, but you'll be able to bring your bikes on board with the bus with you, or any other mobility device that you have. Also, easier access. The nice part about having these design stations is that they're designed so that the platforms align right with the platform of the bus. So if you've ever had the experience of the bus kneeling down so that someone can get on it, that's not necessary for BRT. It's level boarding, you just go right across. So the West Broad BRT, as I said, this is the one that's furthest along in design. This covers a lot of ground. It's 9.3 miles. It's a lot of residents. It's a lot of jobs. And residents and jobs are projected to grow through 2045. This line serves places like Cosi and downtown, Hilltop, Franklinton, and Prairie Township. This is what the station areas, we think, will look like. This is the goal. So you've got your station area in the median. It's easy to get to from either side of the street. It's protected. These are safe crossings for people to use. And we're hoping, we know for certain, of course, that development is going to follow these stations. This has happened in several other cities around the country. This is not new in concept, only new in concept to Columbus. So from there, I'm going to hand it off to Sarah Richards to talk about transit-oriented development specifically.
This is the clicker.
Yeah, that's the clicker.
Thank you, Mike. Good evening, everyone. My name is Sarah Richards. I have the pleasure of being the AECOM project manager on this TOD plan. So happy to see so many folks here tonight. Very happy that it finally stopped raining. So thank you for coming out. I'm going to go through these slides quickly because we have a lot of activities for folks here, and the purpose of this meeting is to actually hear from you, not
death by PowerPoint, me to talk all night long. So if you want to go back to anything, we're going to have a quick general Q&A period. I'll also be floating around the room if you have questions for me afterwards. But I'm going to talk briefly about the TOD plan, and then Glennon with the Neighborhood Design Center is going to talk about our community ambassador opportunity. So there's two things that I'd like all of you to understand about TOD. And the BRT team has already promised not to throw things at me when I say this, but TOD is actually not just for transit riders, right? It's about creating neighborhoods for everyone. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that TOD is actually not a new concept. I think a lot of you know that a lot of the Hilltop area actually grew up as a streetcar suburb in the first part of the 20th century. And fortunately, we no longer have streetcars, but we are bringing back public transit, more public transit to this neighborhood. So we hope that you will ride the BRT, that you'll use all the different mobility options you have. But the idea with TOD is to create neighborhoods for everyone that have a mix of amenities, places to work, places to play, places to wear out your kids so that they'll take a nap, right? Places to start a business. There we go. So this is something that understandably makes a lot of people nervous because they might have been to Manhattan and seen really, really tall buildings and think, oh, okay, that's what transit-centered, transit-oriented development is. But that's actually not at all true. TOD can be all different things, and the idea behind this plan is to have TOD that works for Columbus and works for Columbus's neighborhoods and is human scale and walkable and most importantly community centric. And that's why we want you here tonight, because we want to hear what you want in your communities, right? We want to understand how to do TOD the Columbus way, the Hilltop way, the Franklinton way. So we can definitely talk more. There's all kinds of different examples, but we want you to understand that there isn't just one type of TOD, right? It's really about creating a community that supports the people within it. So just some of the many benefits of TOD. And one of the things I think is really important to remember is that development in this way creates options. It creates variety, right? Options for different types of housing, whether you're an empty nester or a growing family, there's a type of housing that, one, your family can afford, and two, suits you, that's located within proximity to places you want to go to and things you want to do. So, TOD is about variety. It's about having choice in your neighborhood without necessarily having to get in your car and go somewhere else, right? Obviously the Link Us initiative is first and foremost about improved access, improved mobility. So the idea is to have this supportive environment where it's easier for everyone to get around, whether you have a car, whether you have mobility challenges. These are supportive environments, right? Obviously, convenience. It's really nice to have all the stuff you need in one place, right? And, that feeds right into business supportive environments. If you have multiple things in one place, people are more likely to spend more time and more money, right? So TOD helps support small businesses, encourages foot traffic. It just creates places that people want to hang out in, right? And stay. And, of course, affordability is top of mind for, I feel like, almost everyone, unless you're, Elon Musk or Bill Gates. Like, you're concerned about affordability, right, of so many things, of housing, of groceries, and the cost of insuring your car and paying for gas. That's just one other thing you have to worry about. So the idea is to, create these walkable neighborhoods where you can use transit. You don't have to own a car. And you have a wide variety of affordable and attainable housing options and places to shop, right? So we wanted to, there's, been a lot of exciting initiatives in Columbus, but it's hard, I think, for folks to just keep it all straight. So we wanted to talk a little bit about the Zone In initiative, because Zone In is still the overarching regulating plan within the city of Columbus. And it's currently in its second phase. So you are, more than welcome to participate. We've got the QR code there to make your voice heard on how, we're going to continue to regulate growth and development in Columbus. But we want to make clear that the TOD plan is going to leverage the tools created by the Zone In initiative. This is not another zoning or regulating plan. The idea is to kind of use the toolkit that Zone In is giving us to really, again, develop communities that you want to live, work, and play in. So, we definitely encourage you to stay involved and, to make your voice heard as well. So we can talk more about, ways to get involved in Zone In afterwards. But, we want you to understand, I think, there's a lot happening, but all of this is kind of incremental, right? It's going to happen in pockets and phases and things like that. So the idea with the TOD plan is to really be more intentional with how we're growing. And like I said, that's why we want to hear from you. We want to hear how you want to grow. So the overall plan goals, we've talked about a lot of these things already, but first and foremost, we want to build communities, right? We want to not just, start fresh, but we want to build on what's there. We want to, protect and preserve what people care about most. We want this to be a community-led effort, right? If you're interested in development, you're interested in, having a small business in your area, then this plan is for you. And we're going to talk a little bit about the tools and the outcomes that will come out of this. So, we really want to hear, again, from you, and I'll stop talking soon so you can start talking, but about what we can do as part of this plan to advance your neighborhood's prosperity, to, make everybody feel like they're being heard and seen and, living in a place that's built for them. So there's three main outcomes for this plan that we're targeting. One that we're really excited about is an interactive dashboard. This is going to track key metrics, demographics, community landmarks. You'll also be able to link to some of the key themes from the community engagement for each of our station area neighborhoods on the dashboard. So that will be publicly available, and we'll talk a little bit about the timeline in a minute. We're also going to have a plan. The goal is to keep this under 100 pages, hopefully under 50 pages, and make it something that people actually want to read and use, right? It's very implementation, action focused. It's going to have recommendations for funding, financing, other types of resources, and again, more ways that you can get involved and advance your community's growth and development in the type and form that you want to see. And then finally, we're really excited about our toolkit for emerging developers, right? So, we would love to see out of this process more folks who are already embedded in their communities actually leading some of the development efforts that are happening. And we really want to be able to kickstart that with some tools. So, we're going to be, and again, this is definitely something, we can talk more about afterwards and explain kind of some of the details. But if this is something that you're interested in getting involved with, we really want to hear from you. So, probably wondering why we asked you to come here tonight. So let me get to it. Like I said, the purpose of this meeting is we want to hear from you, right? So what do you love most about your neighborhood? Like, what are the tangibles? What are the intangibles? Do you have a favorite park? Do you have a favorite coffee shop? Like, what makes your neighborhood your neighborhood? What makes it a place that you want to invite people to come see? What are you proud of? And then, talk a little bit about what's missing, not just from your neighborhood, but from the West Broad corridor, right? Is it, a daycare, a grocery store, a community center? Maybe you need more places to gather. Maybe you want more places to eat or places to shop. So, if that's something that you've been thinking about, we really want to hear from you. And then housing, again, that's something that's top of mind for so many folks, right? I mean, so maybe you love your neighborhood, but your family's growing and you're struggling to find a place that has enough bedrooms, So if you're feeling like the type of housing or the affordability of housing in your neighborhood isn't what you'd like it to be, we definitely want to hear about that too. And then what are your top destinations? And are there any challenges in getting there, right? How can this plan and how can the BRT help link you to the places that you want to go along West Broad Street? So you're probably wondering what happens to your input. Well, we put it all in a book and then we put it on a shelf somewhere and we just walk away. No, I promise you, we're not going to do that. So the idea is to make your voice heard, and lots of people are listening, right? City leadership, township leadership, county leadership. Folks want to hear from you. Developers want to hear from you. People interested in starting businesses or moving their businesses to West Broad or expanding their businesses on West Broad. They want to hear from you. They want to hear what you want. They want to hear what you don't want. And like I said, if you're interested in getting involved in actually implementing this development in your neighborhood or a neighborhood near you, then, we want to hear from you and we want to talk to you about how to stay involved. So next steps, like I said, Glennon's going to talk about our community ambassador recruitment process in just a second. But just so you're aware, this is definitely not your last chance to give feedback. So we have a bunch of different events planned. We've got 5 station area meetings, and we'll talk about how we're breaking those out in a minute, where you can come and talk to folks, talk to your community ambassadors. We're going to be popping up at events along the corridor all summer. We're going to talk about the public survey in a minute, which we're really excited about. And then you'll have a chance to weigh in on the draft plan materials that we just talked about before they're finalized at the end of the year. So we have lots of handouts, right, Glennon, with the survey. Please take the survey. Please get your friends and your mom and your grandma and everybody to take the survey. It's very easy. It's on a type form. So, we really, really would love to hear from as many folks as possible. It really helps us track our outcomes. So, you'll give feedback tonight. We'd love your feedback on the survey. Like I said, share it with everyone you know. And we can definitely talk to you after the meeting about other ways to get and stay involved. Hopefully all of you have also seen our website. We're going to keep that updated. The survey link should be ready to go and live on there now. So these are our breakdowns for the station area meetings. There's going to be 5 of those, and we're going to be releasing the schedule very soon, trying to go to where people are. We understand you're all very busy, so we want to make sure we make these as convenient as possible. So with that, I will stop talking and pass this over to Glennon to talk about our community ambassador opportunity.
Thank you, Sarah. How's everyone doing tonight? I might make everyone mad, but I'm going to take this out and move. Thank you so much for coming and choosing to spend your evening with us instead of the many other things you could do. We are so grateful to have you here. Neighborhood Design Center, if you don't know us, a lot of you I think will because we were involved in the Envision Hilltop plan. But we are an urban design firm, and we are a nonprofit urban design firm, and we believe design is a right, not a privilege. And so that guides how we do engagement. And so we were brought onto this team to help lead the engagement. And so one of the things we want to do is make sure the community really has a say in this. So we want local people to help us lead the engagement. So we will be hiring and paying folks to help us as community ambassadors. And so we are accepting applications. The application is live. You'll be working between April and December, and you'll be helping us with outreach, doing pop-up events, coming to the public meetings. And there are actually going to be 10 public meetings, 2 for each station area group. So 1 on a Saturday and 1 on a weekday evening, and we are avoiding area commission meeting nights. Because we want to make sure this is going to be accessible and everyone who wants to give input has the opportunity to do so. Community ambassadors are going to be individuals who really possess a strong local knowledge, are connected to a neighborhood or community groups, or even local businesses along the corridor, and live or work in a neighborhood along or near the planned BRT route. So that's kind of who we're looking for. They'll be paid $1,500 in 3 installments of $500 each through the, April through December period. We're going to be working with them. And like I said, you guys will help with pop-up events, conducting outreach engagement, providing support for the meetings in your station grouping. So we're going to be hiring 4 folks for each station, each of the 5 station areas, to help with those neighborhoods, who are familiar with those neighborhoods. So that's 2 public meetings, right, for your station area groupings. And I'm the person you come to if you have questions, or anyone from the NDC team. NDC team members, please raise your hands. They're back there also, ready for you to come and give us feedback on the boards as well, if you have time to do that before you go. But I think next we want to do some questions, right, Sarah? Yeah, so do we have any questions? And I guarantee I will not be answering all of them. Yes.
One of the concerns that I'm hearing from businesses along Broad Street in Franklinton is that there are a couple of examples where people who will still need to use a car to come to the neighborhood will not be able to turn left into certain establishments or left out of that establishment to go to and from downtown. And that's a lot of who comes to this. I don't want to name them because they're not here and I don't want to speak for them, but they get a lot of downtown business. And so what considerations are being given to that? And I know that one of the things that was talked about earlier on is that there would be programs that would help businesses overcome hardships that would be created by the project. So yeah, the left turn in, the left turn out is probably the most major concern we're getting. So I want to know what the response is to that.
Thank you, and I'm going to hand it off to Coda for that.
Hi, thank you so much for your question. So one of the things with the design of these corridors is figuring out traffic management. We know that this is a change for the corridor. This is not how it was originally built. It's not what people are accustomed to. But we are designing lane mile by lane mile plans to make sure that people can still access businesses. The whole point is increasing access, not closing it down. So it might look a little bit different, but we're working to make sure that we're addressing access management. And then to your other point about some different supportive things for businesses, that's going to be with the City of Columbus, and we're working together with City of Columbus. CODA and City of Columbus are working together on this project. So I'd be glad to talk to you a little bit more, and I'll be able to put you in the right direction for someone that knows a little bit more than I do on that. But certainly that's something that we're aware of and working on. So. Yes, in the green. Yes, ma'am. I've got a Sorry, we've got a microphone coming to you. I'm not used to using a microphone.
All right, thank you. Along the same lines of that question, I know between Hague and Midland Avenue is one lane of travel on each direction, and I was wondering, based on your model, are there plans to like widen the streets, which would then impact sidewalks and buildings? So we have this little strip that's narrow, and they've also, tried to put in the bike lane, so it's really kind of tight.
Yeah, there. As part of the design, there's some lane assignments that shift around a little bit. You know, take a foot here, take a foot there, and sort of channel traffic into a sort of a narrower lane. But again, same approaches with access management. We're working on that. You know, foot by foot, basically. Of you know, everything's different in context. So just depending on where it's at, you know, we've got engineers working on exactly how to accommodate all of that flow. I'm going to take one more question, and then I think it's really important that we give you guys time to leave some notes in the back. And of course, anyone around who's with CODA or the City of Columbus will certainly talk to you about whatever your question is. If you could go to the gentleman in the back, Elliot.
So is there any way to like have like public input or ways to kind of direct our comments? Like if you look at the resurfacing of West Broad between Wilson and 270, they have left, like, lane markings have been terrible for months, cones have been terrible for months. You have no idea where you're supposed to go. You shift lanes halfway through driving. And so I'm just concerned with 9 miles of construction, we're going to deal with a lot of that. Accidents are going to happen, and the cones or the barrels are still there. I don't even know why, but they're still there.
Yeah, road construction is something I've lived in Columbus most of my life. Road construction is something that we are no stranger to, and so you know, our project hasn't even started construction yet. So you know, we've stood up a website, linkuscolumbus.com, where you can send information to just a general mailbox, and we make sure that it gets to the right person. So when you see those things, when you notice those things, if you can just reach out and contact us, we'll put you in contact with the appropriate person, or just we'll handle it for you. So we'll be building the West Broad corridor in 3 phases. So, you know, it's not going to be a continuous 9-mile stretch of constant construction. We're going to concentrate it, get one area done, and then move on to the next. So, you know, hopefully you'll find that it's worth the pain, and certainly, hopefully not as painful as sometimes it might sound. With that, I can talk to you in just a moment. With that, I would like to turn it back over to Glennon, if you could provide the group some instructions on how to give us some feedback. Thank you.
Absolutely, and a lot of you guys have already figured this out, and we are so grateful you've already gotten started. So we have a bunch of boards back there. Each board has a different question on it. They also have the BRT route above so that you can refer to that. We did have a slide, and I can go back to that if you want. If you want to look, because Phase 1 has been done for Zone In, and Phase 1 is the zoning that will be on the corridor. And if you want to refer to that, I can go to that slide while you're answering questions, because that'll give you an idea of what is possible. So it's going to be a moment, but I will find that slide. But what we're asking you to do, there are different questions on each board. There are sticky notes. There it is. But on the table next to it, there's also some swag you can take on each table as well, some really fun CODA swag. But you just write your comments. So, you know, answer the question, write on the sticky note, and just post it on the board. And that's all we're asking you to do.